We have Prime Minister Imran Khan. Imran Khan, good afternoon. How are you, sir?
Good evening, good night. In fact, it's night in Pakistan, and I'm very well in the circumstances.
Perfect. Imran Khan, first of all, I want to get straight into the interview because I believe you as a fabulous politician, but also at the same time going through very different and very what do you call it, difficult circumstances. So just to kind of clear, you've been accused of 150 legal cases, including the murder of lawyer Abdul Razak. My question to you is, what do you feel about everything? All the situations going on right now, all the lockdown for you, the bail cases, the court that's happening. How do you feel? How do you feel the whole situation?
Well, look, I'm probably the only Pakistani this country has known for 50 years. Cricket, then philanthropy, and then politics. I never had one criminal case till the age of 70. And suddenly in the last few months, I have not 150, it's already crossed 150. Like every day there's some new case against me. So basically my time is spent going from one court to the other. And this is, total political victimization going on. Someone asked me, how is your situation different to Donald Trump? Not one case that they have slapped on me would ever stand in any court of law. So whenever I go to a court of law, I get bail because the cases are bogus. But now they've gone a step further and they are bringing in military courts. And the idea is to try and be in a military court where obviously there's summary justice. You don't have any justice in a military court, and it's unheard of in a democracy. So, but it is all, the whole thinking behind it is that somehow the establishment and the ruling parties, they are petrified that if there are elections, my party would sweep the elections. The rating of the party is now over 70% in Pakistan, unheard of in our history. So they all worry that, so they're scared of, already they've violated the constitution and the Supreme Court directive to hold elections on the 14th of May of the biggest province. Already they've backed out of it, which is violating the constitution. So therefore, what is happening now is that they're determined to weaken my party and somehow get me into jail and only then hold elections.
My other question to you, Imran Khan, now, what you said was very vital, your party, etc. But my other question to you is, are you scared? Because I know, you went on Piers Morgan's show recently and you said, I'm prepared to go to jail. My question is, if you know that you're innocent, and there's a lot of people who do believe, and I think there's lots of people that believe that you're innocent, my question, why are you prepared in order to go to jail and not fight the situation?
Well, I am. Look, Kiran, I'm fighting the situation. I'm going to courts. I go to every sort of court appearance, and I fight my case. But the problem is not about, me being prepared for jail, because this establishment is determined to get me into jail. So this latest case it's a bizarre case, an insignificant one. Someone had done a petition against me about sedition. And individuals can't do a petition for sedition. It's the government which does a sedition case. Already there are a few sedition cases on me by the government. So it was a case that would have been thrown out of the court. So it was an insignificant case. Suddenly, the lawyer gets shot. Initially, reports come that it is a personal enmity because they had family feud. Then the son of the lawyer who's shot is kept by the police for 12 hours. And then he comes up with a statement the next day that I had somehow initiated this killing. Now everyone knows that this is a joke. No one in Pakistan believes it. Because
sorry to interrupt you there, Imran Khan. Do you believe that people are jealous towards you because you're all about peace and at the same time doing good for Pakistan?
No, I think it's a power thing. They think that when I was removed through a conspiracy, I mean the ex-army chief conspired with this current lot of politicians to remove me. So they thought that, in Pakistan, whenever a government goes, there's celebration in the streets. This time, hundreds and thousands of people came out next day protesting. And from then onwards, the party's popularity just kept going up. Out of 37 by-elections, we swept 30 of them. So that's why there were two assassination attempts on me, because they realized that the party was just growing in popularity, and they decided to remove me from the way by these by assassination attempts. Now the situation right now is such that every opinion poll shows that the party is way ahead of other parties. So what is going on is purely power. The people in power do not want elections if Imran Khan wins. Hence, what you're saying.
Sorry to ask you, but who do you think's behind it? Because, you're talking about power and you're talking about people in my opinion, that people don't want you to become prime minister again. Who do you think's behind all of this aggro and, conspiracy behind all the situation that you're going through?
Well, both the political parties which have been brought into power, because I defeated all these parties in the 2018 elections. So the ones in power right now, they are only there because the establishment backed them. And so it's both the establishment and the political parties who do not want, me to come back into power. And since the establishment removed me, they didn't remove me so that I could come back into power winning the elections. Hence, what is going on here right now.
Sorry, after you.
Yeah,
after you.
What I'm saying is that they have used the pretext of this arson when I was abducted from the High Court by the army. There was a reaction, and it was all pre-planned. Within 2 days, 10,000 of my workers were arrested. It's not possible. So it's not possible if, unless it was pre-planned. The whole thing was planned to use that as a pretext to actually demolish my party. We equate it to what Hitler did in 1933 when when the parliament was burnt, and he used that as a pretext to destroy the communists as his opposition.
Now, your relationship between the UK, Rishi Sunak, I know that you went on when you went on Piers Morgan's show again, because I've done a lot of my research, and you did say that you had no support from Rishi Sunak, but also, maybe reaching out to, Joe Biden, etc. If you do have a message, another personal message to Rishi Sunak in this current situation, what would you tell him?
Well, being 3.5 years as a prime minister, I recognize that, governments only care about their interests. So this whole thing, it's all very well to beat up China with human rights and democracy in Hong Kong, or Uyghurs' human rights or Russia. But actually, there is no consistency there, because here I don't expect Rishi Sunak to interfere in affairs of Pakistan, because we Pakistanis have to sort out our own affairs. But what I do expect is that their professed Western values, which stand for democracy, human rights, against custodial torture, rule of law, all that is being violated in Pakistan right now.
My other question now is, you said on national television that your life and your family and all, you being one of the best cricketers in the world, now going obviously into politics. My question to you is, the shift change from sport to become a politician, was it really worth it? I know you're doing a fantastic thing, in my opinion, to stand up for your rights for Pakistan and your people, which is an excellent thing. But also it comes with danger, it comes with risks, it comes with time, it comes with the situation you've been in. 2 assassinations on you, on anybody, and you're such a public figure, it's very easy for someone to find you in a rally, or, for them to go to a press conference. It could be any situation. Is this worth it, Prime Minister Imran Khan?
Well, look, Kiran, look, when I stopped playing cricket, then went to build what is the biggest charitable institution in Pakistan, the Cancer Hospital. And it's a specialized cancer hospital. And then I built another one. I'm building a third one. Then I built a university. And all these are for, underprivileged people who don't have, 75% of treatment in the cancer hospital is free, which is unique in a private cancer hospital. And similarly, 90% of the students going to the university are on scholarship, so free. But the idea, this was my idea, that I would first, after cricket, I would, go to education and health. But then I went to politics simply because I realized that, no matter what I do, social work I do, the only way the state, the human development can only be done by the state. And two things. One is human development and other is rule of law. Because without rule of law, there is no prosperity. And Pakistan rated 1 out of 140 countries, 129th in the rule of law index. This is before this crackdown, where all fundamental laws have been violated and are, even the verdicts of our Supreme Court are set aside. So this is before that, we were already 129th. So I started my movement for justice because I realized that this country has no future unless we have rule of law in this country. And by the way, I saw in Britain, first time in my life, rule of law. Because we had military dictatorship in Pakistan when I went as a teenager. So this was the struggle.
Do you like London? Do you like England?
No, but I'll just complete. So therefore, when I started 27 years ago, I realized that I would be now, when you talk about bringing the powerful under the law and powerful mafias, then your life is at risk. But I'd already conquered my fear of dying when I started politics 27 years ago. So it is a mission, really. It is not politics. It is a mission, really, to stand up to these powerful people who are above law and which have taken away the hope from this country, the potential from this country. In the 60s, we were one of the fastest growing economies in the world, especially in the developing world. And this country had hope. Our universities, were international standard. And then we just went down gradually and then very quickly so we alternated between military dictatorship and these two families. And between them, they destroyed rule of law in this country. And so this is a struggle, and this will go on till I'm alive.
If you go to jail, Imran Khan, what's the plan? As for you to be as you are the chairman of PTI, what's the plan for you? Because I know there's people say, well, it doesn't matter if you go to jail a lot, the PTI is still going to continue. But what's the plan? What do you have planned in schedule if you do go to jail?
Well, I will have a collective leadership, because if I leave it to one person, right now the crackdown is such that anyone who's doing something significant for our party, they put him in jail. So they just slapped some case on them, and so all the leadership is in jail or in hiding. So what I'm doing is I formed a collective leadership, and they will take decision by consensus. I won't make them visible so that they're working underground. But whenever the elections, we will win, because the lead between my party and all the rest of the party is such that it is just a big gulf now. In the by-elections, since I was ousted from power, 37 by-elections took place in Pakistan. We swept 30 of them. This is despite the establishment completely helping the government parties. So they all know that whenever the elections, we will win. Our thing is that we have to survive this. What should I say? This absolute fascism which is going on now, where there is a total victimization and an attempt to dismantle my party. But the voter will be there. So whatever they do, the voter is standing fast with us. They're standing next to us.
In the last 2 days before this interview, I did some background checks and I did some questions to the public, people in England who are Pakistani. And I asked them about a former Prime Minister, Nawaz Sharif. And I asked them their opinion on Nawaz Sharif. And a lot of people a lot of people explained to me and said to me that the Nawaz Sharif is not a good person. He's not this person, etc. What's your opinion about Nawaz Sharif?
Well, he, along with Asif Zardari, the two ruling families, the Bhuttos and the Sharifs, I mean, they have ruled Pakistan three times each. They have three times stints in power. Each time they come to power, they have faced massive corruption cases. And both of them have huge amounts of properties abroad. Nawaz Sharif lives in Mayfair. His son lives on One Hyde Park. These are millions of dollars of properties, which they can never explain where the money came from because it was laundered from Pakistan. So therefore, he's a typical example of why developing countries are poor, because their ruling elites they steal money from the countries and they end up in offshore accounts and in Western capitals like London. And unfortunately, the rich countries, they don't do anything to stop this huge amount of money laundering, which is causing so much poverty in the developing world, because they are beneficiaries of this capital coming in.
Does that anger you, Imran Khan, Prime Minister Imran Khan? Does that anger you that, a former prime minister who served his country for years, at the same time also stole money from Pakistan? Does that anger you?
Well, look, when you look at the level of poverty in our country, so 100 million people, which is almost twice the population of Britain, is 50 million are below the poverty line and 50 million just above. And in just the last few months, then millions of people have gone below. 4 million people have gone below the poverty line. So therefore, obviously, I mean, it should anger anyone whose problem with the ruling elite is that they have the money stashed abroad. Nawaz Sharif and Zardari, whenever they are out of power, they run off. They go abroad and to avoid corruption cases. And then they do deals to come back in again. So obviously, these people are like in all the developing world, this ruling elite, which is siphoning off money from the countries and causing huge poverty, the money that could be spent on human development is siphoned off. And it also angers me that the rich countries do nothing to stop this. Because, there are very strict laws on drugs money. There's strict laws on terror financing. But what about this, which is just causing deaths of millions and millions of people and this plunder that is going on of the developing world?
My other question is, going on to another topic now, India, Pakistan and India. What's the relationship? I know there's always friction between, well, there has been friction recently between India and Pakistan. What's the relationship between India?
Look, I mean, when I became the prime minister, the first thing I did was stretch out a hand of friendship to the Indian counterpart, Narendra Modi, and said, look, we are willing to, you come one step towards us and we'll take two steps towards you. And so we should resolve our difference, which is only one difference, is Kashmir. We can resolve it through dialogue, but, trade will benefit millions of people in both the countries.
Do you ever think sorry to interrupt you, but would you ever think that relationship will ever get fixed?
You see, the problem I feel is the philosophy of the BJP, RSS, which I think is very anti-Pakistani, anti-Muslim, anti-minority, really. And I feel that, it is very difficult to, if you're coming up with against an ideology, I think there is the rhetoric they have in India about Pakistan and about Pakistan's state sponsoring terrorism and so on. So it's very difficult to. So I found very difficult to make inroads there. And then, of course, in 2019, 5th August, they took away the statehood of Kashmir. Now, Kashmir is a disputed territory between Pakistan and India, and the United Nations Security Council resolutions, which stated that there should be a plebiscite for people of Kashmir to decide which way they wanted to go. Until then, they had the special status. Now, this was taken away by BJP. Now, this caused immense problems, not in our Pakistan side of Kashmir, but all over the country. And so, since then, our relationship went into a deep freeze.
And also my other question, my last couple of questions to you, Prime Minister. Retire. I know, if you do become the Prime Minister again, well, actually, no, before I ask that question, if you do become Prime Minister again, would you take action against people who put you through all this chaos at the moment?
Well, rather than having any personal vendettas, uh, all I would do is that impose rule of law in this country. You cannot have a country where a privileged class is above law. You cannot have it. And this is, I repeat, the problem with the developing world is that the powerful are above law. And, that's what I discovered in the UK when I first went there, that I suddenly discovered what rule of law was. Even the Queen, the princes, everyone had to, Prime Minister, they were all subject to the law of the land. Boris Johnson, I keep giving example in Pakistan, he won a huge majority. And yet for breaking the law or not following the law of the land, he had to resign. So this is unheard of in our country because always the powerful were above law. And the biggest problem is when you do not have a level playing field, the potential of the population is stunted. So Pakistanis go abroad, go to Europe, go to England, America, and they do really well. But here, because we have this two-tier system, and so while the powerful are above law, the majority of the population, even their fundamental rights are not protected here. So basically, you don't have freedom really. Rule of law gives you freedom. Rule of law gives you democracy, real democracy. Elections don't give you a democracy and freedom unless there is rule of law. So this was my movement 27 years ago, rule of Tehreek-e-Insaf, movement for justice.
You've done so well as a politician, but also at the same time as one of the best cricketers in the world. Why don't you just retire, Imran Khan? Why don't you just say that you've become Prime Minister, you've done the best that you can, you've become one of the best athletes in the world, you've shifted over to a very difficult career, but also I know that you said on Piers Morgan show that you would never recommend this job to anybody else. Why don't you just retire? You want to see your sons. I know you haven't seen your sons recently. I know you tweeted on Twitter and you said that you love to go hiking, etc., with your sons, etc. That's what you do enjoy. So why don't you just retire?
Kiran, look, there are two types of politics. One is where you do it as a career, and I would never suggest that to anyone because it is the most. I mean, people who have good career or who have well off or who have who don't need to make a living out of politics, why would they go to politics? Because it is the most difficult thing, asking for votes from people. But as a politics has a mission, so like Gandhi in India, like Quaid-e-Azam Jinnah in Pakistan, like Mandela, that's a different. It's not politics. It's where you actually are fighting for your freedom. So basically, we are actually fighting for our freedom in this country because freedom comes with rule of law and fundamental rights. At the moment, the majority of the population does not have its fundamental rights. So they whenever they come against the powerful, they're just helpless. They're enslaved, so they have to kowtow to the powerful because there's no protection from the law. Unlike in countries which have rule of law, like European countries, like Britain, like the US, like Canada, for instance, even better, there's a level playing field. So people who from here go there, the moment they pay their taxes and they abide by the law, they are free citizens. No one can touch them. This is not the case in our country. Wherever the poor come against or the weak come against the powerful, they are just helpless. And therefore, when you don't have a level playing field and when you don't have freedom, the country doesn't progress because the rich keep, like in my country, like on all the developed.
And same in our country as well. Yes, we get
rich. The powerful people can get away with corruption, like Nawaz Sharif sitting in London with millions of dollars of property. He can't tell where the money came from, but the law cannot catch him. And this is the problem which our country's developing world faces.
My last couple of questions for you, Prime Minister. What's your opinion about Donald Trump? I know you've met him twice. I know you've sat with him. I know he wants to become president again. What's your opinion about Donald Trump? And also compared to Joe Biden, do you think Donald Trump is a better president than Joe Biden?
Well, look, Donald Trump has had a lot of criticism. And how much is valid and not, everyone can decide. But with me, when I met him a few times, he was generous. He was helpful. We had good relationship. I'm talking about Pakistan-US relationship. He was very frank. There was no diplomacy there. He was very straightforward. And I must say, I appreciated that. With the Biden administration, for some strange reason, they were stuck in Afghanistan. Pakistan was needed, to help them. And we did a great job in the withdrawal of troops. All the withdrawal took place through Pakistan, and we were thanked by everyone. But for some reason, Biden, I don't know, maybe he was fed by people, I don't know, but I had no communication with him. So my personal thing with Trump was completely different, and with Biden I had no communication with him. And in fact, if anything, the relationship, I don't think they had a very good opinion of me. They thought I was anti-American, which is not true. I'm just a nationalist who cares about Pakistan's interest.
And my last question to you, Imran Khan, and I'm going to let you go. Racism, discrimination is a very, very big task in the world. Do you think maybe the countries that you're maybe hoping, not asking, but hoping for people to come and support you, let's say, for instance, Rishi Sunak, yes, okay, he's a Hindu prime minister, he's from an Asian background, but do you feel like, on the perspective of not people coming forward, do you think it could be a discrimination maybe act towards you to say, look, let Imran Khan continue his own journey?
Look, I don't have much expectations from anyone, to help me, because it's not about me. Because I'm fighting my own war here against all these forces of status quo, which are trying to destroy democracy just to stop me from coming into power. But I think it is important for Western countries to be consistent. When they talk about human rights, fundamental rights, democracy, rule of law, and against custodial torture, then they should be more consistent. It should not be just used against rivals like China and Russia. They should be consistent, because all that is at threat in Pakistan. All that is at stake right now. We are losing our democracy. We have basically unannounced martial law. We have no rights. I mean, how can you put 10,000 people in jail without any trial, and then the courts release them on bail, and the police picks them up in some cases and again shoves them in jail? So it is the total violation of a fundamental rights, and then people getting tortured in jail. Political workers getting tortured. This is also a first. Then women, I mean, never in our history have women, firstly, never did women participate so much in politics, and I'm proud to say, as in my party. And never have they been mistreated like they have by these draconian measures by this fascist government. I mean, so many women have been shoved in jails, women who were just doing peaceful protests. I mean, no woman was ever involved in violence. And the only people, there were a few hundred people who were involved in arson. How could they put 10,000 people in jail and still keep every other day that they find someone and they shove them in jails? So what is happening? There should be a statement. Be consistent for what they call Western values. They should speak out against this thing, not about me, about the violations of human rights.
And I'm going to let you go. Just one last question. Your sons, family, advice, opinions, what are they telling you? What, behind the closed doors, behind the media, behind you? I know you're going to court tomorrow. I know you have to face that. That's going to be a very difficult task for you. So are they advising you to retire, or are they asking you to continue?
Well, my oldest son, ever since I was much younger, I mean, he was much younger. He was 7, 8, 9 years old. He's now 24. Uh, then I used to take on the big mafias, and I would, my party was quite small, but I would take them on. And one was a very vicious mafia. I mean, this guy had a lot of people bumped off. So I took him on. People were scared to even utter his name in public, and I actually took him on head on. And my son got so scared, Suleiman, and he begged me to leave politics then. I'm talking about 16, 17 years back. Look, I think my sons realized over a period of time that this is not some profession for me, it is a mission for me. And I think they realize it. And of course, it worries them. They came over when I was shot, and I had 4 or 5 days with them. But the situation here is right now so unstable, and actually, for me, it is a dangerous situation right now, in terms that I've had 2 attempts against me, and they will maybe try and again remove me from the scene, because they worry that even if I'm jailed, even then my party will win. So therefore, my sons worry about it. Yes, they do, but I think they also realize that it's not something which is, it is a mission, and I will go all the way.
Imran Khan, I want to say, first of all, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. It was an honor to talk to you today and get a great insight. And, I wish you the very best for tomorrow. I wish you lots of success moving forward. And I really hope you get out of the situation. So thank you so much again.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you. Pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure talking to you as well, sir.